talking to me. But you're relentless and I still can't believe you tried to ruin my rep. And I think it would be best you got to step in instead. Yeah, but what can I do? Dealing with you and you're driving me crazy. You, hostile you. Yeah, you can spoil my day, please don't ruin my night. Welcome to Misinformation Monologues with you as always. Hey, it's me, it's Zach. How's everybody doing, huh? So, anything new since the last time we talked? Been a slow news week? No, it hasn't, obviously. Sorry we haven't been around for you. Things have been kind of busy. Things have been kind of hectic. Luckily, apparently this COVID thing's just going to go away. Not exactly sure why or how that works, but I think we're doing better now. Do you feel better? Do you feel good? Do you feel healthier? Do you feel like it's safe to go outside again? Or do you feel like the whole world's on fire? Because that's kind of how it feels right now, right? So, here's my issue, right? We are... 2020 can suck balls, right? Well, that's not supposed to be that squeaky. Hold on. 2020 can suck almost complete balls. This is delicious, by the way. Lagunitas daytime. Low carb. It's fucking beautiful. Not a sponsor, but if they'd like to be, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, 2020 can pretty much suck the big fat rod. Okay? But honestly, it could be a lot worse, right? Because look, man, here's the thing. Let's rewind 20 years. And let me introduce you to 20 years ago Zach, right? So 20 years ago, Zach was a miserable prick, okay? He fucking knew everything. Everybody was dumber than him. Anybody with an opinion different than his was a fucking moron, right? So 20 years ago, Zach, 10 years ago, Zach, maybe even you could make the argument 5 years ago, Zach, right? That's who I was. The problem with 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, Zach, that's the way most of the world is, right? Most of the world thinks that if you don't have the same opinion that they do, if you don't believe in the same things that they do, then you're a fucking moron, right? That is not the way the world works, okay? The world is full of tons of different types of people with tons of different opinions and tons of different life experiences. You don't know everyone's story, okay? So here's where I'm going to let everyone in on a little knowledge, right? There is a lot of bullshit happening in this world right now, whether it's fucking COVID, whether it's inequality, right? And here's a little secret, right? Just because an opinion doesn't align with your political beliefs does not mean you should shout it down. Okay? Not only does it not mean you should shout it down, maybe you should just shut the fuck up. Right? That's a possibility, right? You don't have to have a fucking opinion. Right? Do you really want to take the chance of being on the wrong side of history? Do you really want to be one of the guys that when all of this comes to a head and all the sweeping changes that happen, because they're going to happen, right? This is what you call a boiling point moment, okay? When all the sweeping changes happen, when the world starts to realign in a way that is very different than the way it is now, do you really want to be on the wrong side of that? And even if all of your political beliefs, all your core beliefs place you on the other side of that, do you want to be the one that was screaming it from the rooftops while the world began to change? You don't, right? And thirdly, do you want to be the uneducated, ignorant fuck? And that could fall on either side of either of the arguments, whether we're talking about COVID or whether we're talking about George Floyd, right? Because we have people on both sides of it acting like total fucking fucktards. Disagree? I think if you disagree, you're not paying attention. I'm gonna talk about two different sides of this deal, and I want you to think about something. Whenever you get into an argument with somebody, whether it's in the real world or on the internets, right? Before you get into an argument, make sure you are educated, make sure you fact check, and make sure you fucking vet your sources. Okay? There's something I want to show you here. This is a meme that I just saw the other day. Check this meme out here. It's a pretty polished meme, right? It looks pretty sexy, pretty sassy, right? Shows us that the cops in Norway have only killed 4 people since 2002, right? They require 3 years of training. That's pretty impressive, right? 3 solid years of police training. Cops in Finland require 2 years of training and only have killed 7 people since 2000. Cops in Iceland, oh, look at that adorable Harry Potter looking fuck, right? Require 2 years of training, only 1 person killed since ever. And then, cops in the US require 21 weeks of training, 8,000 plus people killed since 2001. This meme is damning, correct? Oh, it makes the United States is fucking up, right? Which may be true. I'm not going to take an alternate position to this meme at all. I'm not going to say that cops couldn't have maybe some more training, maybe some more crisis intervention, de-escalation, maybe some more community policing, maybe some more psychological testing, maybe some more psychological training, maybe some more sociology training, maybe just some more fucking history so they understand the people that they're interacting with and the implicit bias that occur, all of this shit, right? These are trainings that are happening, okay? If you do some research, you'll go out and look and find it, right? But here's the thing. If you look at this meme, it is fucking ridiculously damning until you start doing some maths and start thinking about it. So I got into an argument, weird, right, on the Facebooks with this person. Now, I've blanked this person's name and profile photo out for a reason, right? Because I don't want to humiliate the person, because that's fucking childish, right? But I do want to humiliate the thought process, okay? What I pointed out, what I thought very succinctly, was that for perspective, Norway has a population of 5.36 million people. Finland has a population of 5.518 million. Iceland has a population of a whopping 364,134 people, which is less than the population of Polk County, Iowa, by the way. Okay. The United States has a population of 328 million. While additional training certainly isn't a bad thing, and it is not a bad thing, it is a great thing. This meme is not even a little bit scientifically relevant. Of course, this person, who leans even further left than I do. I'm a registered fucking Democrat, folks. But I will vote for whoever the best candidate is. And this year we know who the best candidate is not. But I will vote for whoever the best candidate is. But I lean left, okay? This person says, do the math. The United States is approximately 59.63 times larger than Finland. 7 deaths times 59.63 is 418 deaths. I rounded up, technically, 417.41. 418 versus 8,000 deaths. So I'd have to argue this is quite significant. Okay, on paper, if you're looking at pure statistics, yep, they're still kicking our ass. Except for that's not the way the world works. That's not the way human interaction works, okay? And then I had to point out, if it worked that way, sure. But if it doesn't, crime and violence increase exponentially with population. You can see that pretty much anywhere, and that's true, right? You know that the higher population centers have much more violence, exponentially more violence than the smaller areas, right? You have to compare two similar population sizes in countries with similar levels of economics and industrialization. The meme is misleading and scientific and unscientific as fuck, right? And then this is where it happens. This is where the left is fucking up, okay? They get so condescending and so fucking juvenile, right? I'm picturing the fucking SpongeBob fucking meme, right, on this. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with the fact that the police in America have less training than hairstylists. First of all, don't fucking demean hairstylists and pretend like their job is any less important. I mean, for me, obviously, it is way less important because I just use fucking clippers because I'm bald. But a lot of people fucking miss their hairstylists right now during the COVID shit, right? But why take that fucking point of view, right? Why have that be your attack on the matter. Because rather than try to argue the point, which you cannot, look, you cannot argue the fucking point, right? You cannot scientifically argue the point. Statistics on their own may look bad, but you have to use some fucking common sense. There's a reason why it's 8,000 here. Our population density is much higher, right? It's just larger. Population is larger. If you just look at what happens in New York City, you have people upon top of people upon top of people. There's more crime. There's more gun violence. There's more violence, right? We live in a very different society. You can't pin it all on police training. Should police have more training? Fucking yes, they should. And after they have that more training, they should have more training on top of that. Once they finish that training, they should have more training on top of that. There should be continuing ed permanently every fucking month for police officers. Because if a little's good, more's better. A chemistry teacher taught me that, and then he set the desk on fire. But it was still kind of cool. It still made sense what he was talking about, right? Obviously, they need more training, but you can't pin all of it on lack of training. It is we live in a very different world than Icelanders. I mean, come the fuck on, man. Be fucking smart about what you're doing, okay? Now, my last point to this person. Again, why are you comparing two unlike things again? I really hope there's an app that made her text do that and that she didn't actually go through and manually fucking change her like a fucking 14-year-old, right? But the point is, there are plenty of good statistics for affecting change. There are plenty of good statistics for making the argument that police need more training. But this app, or this meme, was not it. This meme was not... Yeah, it's evocative, and it goes to your base instincts, and it's like, oh my God, look at these statistics. But if you have anyone thinking critically about the situation, this is not the reason. It's not all attributed to this. Do we have some kind of a weird disconnect? Possibly. But there are all these other issues that can be brought to the forefront. And here, I'm going to take you to the other side of it here in a second. We cannot... If we're going to make solid arguments, they can't be thin. They can't be arguments based on memes. They have to be arguments based on cognitive thought, actual scientific association. And if we want this to work, if we really want to affect change, we can't fucking respond back in text with every other letter being capitalized, trying to be cute and funny. Like, that's not how we're going to do this time. Things are very fucking different this time. Right? It's the same reason the right can't use the fucking argument that all lives matter, right? Or, that there's doctors that kill people all the time. Look, I've made that fucking argument, right? And you don't say, well, I don't trust doctors. Yeah, I've made that fucking argument. I'll be the first to fucking admit it, right? But also, maybe now's the time to shut the fuck up. You're not going to change anybody's mind with that argument. The all lives matter bullshit can just go right the fuck out the window, walk on down the road with that bullshit because, look, I get it now. I used to say all lives matter too, right? And they do. Every single one of them. Which is why we got to get it back up to fucking even. Okay? Obviously, if there's a large portion of our population that feels as if they're being treated like their lives don't matter, we need to do something to help them feel like they do. We need to ally with these people that feel disenfranchised. And I say these people because I'm not one of them. I feel great. I'm not worried about being discriminated against. I'm not worried about losing a job. I'm not worried about living in poverty. I'm not worried about any of those things, right? So when I say these people, don't jump my shit because they're like, oh, these people, oh, those people, oh, fucking grow the fuck up. You know what I mean. So maybe it's time for us just to shut the fuck up and listen. So the people on the right that are all this fucking, all lives matter. Yeah, we know fucking Kevin or whatever your fucking name is, right? Fucking, what's a good Caleb? A good fucking redneck name. I don't know. But just fucking... shut up. Maybe now's not the time. Because whatever agenda you're going to try to push, you are not going to convince the millions of fucking people that have marched over the last 2 weeks. Millions. You're not going to turn them to your fucking point of view. You're not going to get them to go, you know what? You're right. If I do say my life matters, it means that no other lives matter. Nobody is fucking saying that. Grow the fuck up. So the left's fucking up with this like condescending bullshit, right? The right's fucking up with this trying to spin the narrative. We have a goddamn president right now. Did you guys see the video of the protest in Buffalo, New York, where they shoved down a 400-year-old man and busted his head open and blood all over the concrete? They just kept pushing past him. And when the one cop who tried to do the right thing, like, oh shit, he fell, I didn't mean for him to fall, and he goes back to try to help him, the other guys just push him on because these are crowd control tactics. And then we have a president that tries to smear this 76-year-old man's name by saying he was an agitator. I used some other word that was a fucking way bigger word than he probably knows. Someone had to have helped him. The president is tweeting, trying to defame a 76-year-old man who fell over backwards because he was shoved by a cop with a baton, cracked his head open and is in serious condition in a hospital. The President of the United States took it upon himself to spend part of his day defaming that man's name and character, rather than just go, that was unfortunate. They probably should have thought that one through. They should have been more careful. Maybe they need more training. Maybe they didn't understand what they were doing. Maybe they were hyped up in the moment and all full of fucking adrenaline and stupidity. Whatever the reason is, instead of him either keeping his fucking fat orange mouth shut or saying a reasonable thing at a time when this country needs nothing less than someone to galvanize and unite its people, he sowed division, ignorance, and stupidity. Don't be him. Don't be him. If you don't agree with it, just keep your fucking mouth shut. And before anybody says, I thought your show celebrated free speech and everyone should be able to say what they want. Yes, I do celebrate free speech. But my right to punch ends where your fucking nose begins. And if your free speech will incite violence and division and hatred, then shut your fucking mouth. And now before you say, well, what about the violence of the protesters? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. None of the protesters are violent. The rioters are violent. Those are different fucking people. You're getting a false narrative from the media. And here's how I know. I saw a clip the other night of some rioters and protesters during the day. And I always say, the ones that come out after night, don't trust them at all. They're going to riot. Because if you want your voice heard and you want your story told, you do it during the day when there's traffic everywhere and people to see you, right? That's when you protest, is during the day, so that people see you and they see your message, okay? Which millions of fucking people are doing. They're doing a really good job of it. But this one happened to be during the day when they stopped the semi and yanked the fucking semi driver out for no good reason, right? Yank him out and start beating the piss out of him. It was filmed on a cell phone camera, which is kind of just normal now, right? It was filmed on a cell phone camera, and as you watch it, and the guy holding the camera is jerking all over the place, but as you watch it, you start to realize something. You start to realize that the protesters are trying to protect the semi-truck driver. The rioters, the ones with their faces covered, dressed all in black, bandanas, helmets, all of the things that, say look like Antifa, for example, are beating the fuck out of this guy for no good reason. But you can see protesters attempting to protect him, shoving people back, trying to get in the way, because the protesters know that that is not the way to bring people to their cause. You don't hurt people to get people to understand that you've been hurt. That doesn't make any sense. And these protesters know that, because the protesters are smart, they're hurt, and they want the world to change. The rioters just want to watch the world burn. They don't care about the message. They don't care about any positive advancements. They don't care about making a difference. They're opportunistic, and they want to watch the world burn. So the only place that the protesters may be lacking a little bit is that the protesters need to stand up to the rioters. The protesters need to stand together with their communities and prevent the turmoil and the chaos and the mayhem that's coming along with these rioters. Because here's the thing. Rioters don't want to get hurt. The rioters don't want to be part of anything where there's going to be resistance. They're standing on the backs of these protesters in order to cause the mayhem and the chaos. If the protesters weren't out there, there wouldn't be any rioters. Now, I'm not telling the protesters don't go out. I'm saying quite the opposite. They probably need to be out more. And once the rioters start rioting, they need to grab them and throw them face first into the fucking line of crowd control. Right into the fucking riot squad. They need to grab them, maybe use their own zip ties, drag them right up to the cops and be like, this is your bitch right here. This is the guy you need to take. We are trying to fix things. They're trying to break things. They're not with us. They're against us. Because the more fires that are set, the more windows that are broken, the more businesses that are burned down, the less seriously people are going to take the movement. And that's exactly why they're doing it. They want to turn us, the reasonable allies, against them. The people wanting to affect change. The people that are hurting. The people that are protesting. The people that want something different. And they think, because I've said it too, when it first started to happen, I was like, these fucking assholes. People want to be treated better and then they act like this, but then cognitive thinking starts kicking in. I start watching, I start observing that they're not the same people. There's protesters and there's rioters. And it's very different. Look, I know that the few of you who come here to hear some fucking goofy shenanigans and some jokes and some inappropriate comments and shit, right? And we're still going to do that. Big truck. We're still going to do that, right? That's still what we're about. But this is a really fucked up time. And I didn't want to change my fucking profile picture to a black square. I didn't want to, make a little fucking banner on the bottom that says, I'm staying home so you can live or whatever. This is what I do, right? I explain myself by talking. I explain things so that there's no confusion about what I mean. I want you all to think before you act. I have friends that are on the right. I have friends that are on the left. My best friends are right down the middle where the reasonable people live, right? We all have to live on this planet. And there are lots of people that are trying to make it so that we can't. And by we, I mean everyone. First and foremost is the current president of the United States. He's the most divisive, ineffective, dare I say, evil human being to ever sit in the chair in the Oval Office. He's horrible. And if you can't see that what he's trying to do is divide the people to make us weaker so that his base falls back to him because they don't know what else to do, then I'm sorry for you. If you lack empathy and can't understand's the wrong word. If you lack empathy and can't identify with, or at the very least, feel for the plight of people who feel like they've been downtrodden and stepped on and chewed up and spit out for so long, then I feel bad for you. But all I'm asking you to do is start to think critically. Don't think fucking emotionally. Don't believe the first article you read or the first thing you hear from your Aunt Karen, okay? Think critically about everything. Think critically about the protests. Think critically about COVID, because yesterday some new shit came out, right? Doesn't spread on surfaces, and asymptomatic people very rarely spread the virus. That changes everything, everybody. We never needed to lock down. We just needed to isolate sick people and isolate people that were at advanced risk. I'm no fucking scientist. But I said that for a really fucking long time. But here's the thing. Think critically. No knee-jerk reactions. Don't be part of the problem. You can have an opinion completely different than what everybody else has. But be respectful, be courteous, and for fuck's sake, be kind. This has been the first episode of Misinformation Monologues. With you as always, I'm Zach. Love you.
You're driving me crazy, you hostile, you. Yeah, you can spoil my day, please don't ruin my night. You can spoil my day, please don't ruin my night. Yeah, you can spoil my day, please don't ruin my night. Now you, hostile, you. Hostile, you. Yeah, hostile, you. Hostile, you. Yeah, I told you once before, you're bothering me.